So, James, did you have a favorite teacher when you were in school?
Mr. Moore, 5th grade.
Oh, I love that you have a quick answer. Why? What made him your favorite?
It was a split class. I was a 5th grader, and it was a 5th, 6th split class. I don't know if that's
Interesting.
even a thing. So as a 5th grader, I got exposed to stuff I shouldn't have. We watched some cool stuff. I was in Science Olympiad on the team. He
Nice.
He was an awesome teacher. He made school fun.
Okay, mine was a Mr. Capek. He was my English teacher in high school, I think maybe like sophomore, junior, and senior year. It's one of those just inspiring teachers, like Dead Poet Society style, Mr. Keating type teacher that just, inspired you and everything. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning him in particular is because I made a promise to him when I graduated and we were filming some graduation video stuff. And I promised him that I would dedicate the first book that I write to him.
Okay.
This is back in when I thought I was going to be a writer and actually write books.
First book.
Little ambitious, I think, for 18-year-old John Martin, but I'm not in the book writing business, probably never will be, but at the very least I can give him a shout out on a podcast. I mean, this is probably the sum of my creative outlets, and doing this gig. So there's my shout out to him. I'll try to get this over to him and hopefully let him know that he was a inspirational teacher. But the reason why I bring that up is because today on the show we are talking about BlueStar Academy, which is our new training program to, as Cordy so wisely created this awesome tagline, turn rookies into revenue generators faster. Exactly. So the whole goal of this program is that you can send new folks into us to learn about the channel, learn about technologies, learn about, verticals, and just give them a nice core foundation to help them, understand a little bit more about what we're doing better. So today on the show, we have Mike Monocello joining us. If that name is familiar, he's very well known in the channel. He's been out there working for a very long time. Has been a board member of the RSPA, well-known guy. We managed to snag him to be our training specialist and build this program for us. And I got to say, he's done a pretty smash-up job so far.
Heck yeah, he is.
So we're excited to launch this and officially get it out there. It's going to be coming out in 2026. We're going to need your input. But first, you need to learn as much as you need to about the program. So stay tuned. Good stuff for you to learn about. Hopefully, at the end of it, you're going to be excited and want to send folks over to do some training with us. I'm John Martin.
I'm James Cordy.
Welcome to Blue Star Nation. BlueStar Nation podcast is brought to you by Elo. Elo's iSeries 5 has arrived. Hey, that kind of rhymed. I wasn't expecting that. iSeries delivers the modularity businesses need in a sleek, durable, fixed tablet form factor, complete with a 15-inch Full HD touch display, flexible Android 14 OS, powerful Qualcomm 6490 processor, Wi-Fi 6E, optional PoE, and 4 Edge Connect ports. The iSeries 5 provides the versatility to fit almost any application, like self-service kiosks, POS terminals, price checkers, KDS, and industrial automation. Available in 10, 15, and 22-inch sizes, the iSeries 5 easily configures to fit the needs of your business, from signage point of sale to self-service, automation controls, and so much more. Now you can also get the thin and sleek slate in the durable steel models, making iSeries 5 the ideal touch computer for industries like retail, hospitality, industrial, and healthcare. To learn more, check out the data sheets and select the best iSeries configuration for your next project. Check out the link in the show notes or contact the BlueStar Elo team. This episode is also brought to you by RF Ideas, makers of secure authentication and identification devices beyond the door. RFID's Wave ID Minis are dual-frequency programmable readers for workstations, networks, devices, and more. Wave ID Plus Mini is their smallest, most capable desktop reader that now has USB-C compatibility and works with nearly every proximity and contactless smart card, including iClass SE and SEOS, giving existing or new credentials additional application potential such as single sign-on, secure print, cashless checkout, time and attendance, industrial vending, and more. If you're looking for a seamless way to have multi-factor authentication, the Wave ID Mobile Mini is designed to work with your preferred mobile credential today, whether it be BLE or NFC digital wallet, and can adapt to an ever-expanding list of mobile credentials. Your customers are likely already using badges and mobile devices for building access and security. Why not empower them with additional authentication opportunities throughout the enterprise? Check out the link in the show notes to learn more about Wave ID Minis or contact your BlueStar account manager to place an order. RFIDs, trust begins here. All right, our guest today is Mike Monocello. He is BlueStar's training and content specialist. I feel like that's not even giving him enough credit for what he's doing.
Professor Mike.
Yeah, Professor Mike. That's true. That is his official designation. I don't know if you wanted that to be your designation, but I feel like it's happening whether you like it or not, Mike. So welcome to the show. Tell us about yourself, your background, how you got to be Professor Mike, and if you're actually comfortable with that designation.
So, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here. I'm so happy to be a part of the BlueStar family and leading this initiative. Number one, I've got a lot of educators in my family, in particular on my wife's side. So I'm afraid to call myself a professor. I think I'll get in trouble with the in-laws. So let's just keep that here between us.
They're going to ask for the credentials.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, so as I said, I'm really super excited to be a part of this initiative. I've been a part of the IT reseller ecosystem for 20 plus years as like a reseller in the media, as an ISV owner. I've been doing a lot of different things within the ecosystem, and so I've got a lot of different experience that I'm excited to bring to this new role. The idea here behind BlueStar Academy is to just accelerate the learning of all of our members, bring people up to speed sooner, and we can obviously talk more about that. And so I'm basically taking all my years of experience in education, et cetera, and pouring it into developing a curriculum that will help our partners.
I like it. So, okay, maybe honorary professor, professor emeritus. I don't know. What's that? Isn't there like designations like that where they give you we know you're not really a professor. You didn't really do the work, but we're going to call you that anyway. Yeah, exactly. We'll figure out something. You're Professor Mike to us in our hearts. That's all that matters. So.
It's all good. Yep.
All right. Well, let's start talking a little bit about BlueStar Academy, how we got there, and the idea of turning rookies to revenue generators faster. Which, if you like that tagline, by the way, this guy right here came up with it, James Cordy, which I think it's a fantastic line. It's just
little assist from AI, but I gave it some good inputs. And sometimes when you see the tagline, you're like, "Ooh, that's good. That's nice and
it really
brief
is.
and
it tells you everything you need to know about it. It makes sense." All right, well, let's kick it off by talking about kind of how we got to where we are right now as we're getting ready to fully launch this program. We've just put the word out there. Folks have been hearing about it this week. They're already starting to give us some feedback and some input on what they want to see coming out of these trainings over the next year. You've spoken to a lot of partners already that when we first brought you on and started building this out, we also said, hey, here's some folks to go out and talk to, contact some of your connections that you already had in the channel, learn about what they're interested in, why they might want to do this. What are some of the consistent themes that you've heard about as you've been talking to them and heard about what they're already doing with training and development and why they might need some assist from us?
Yeah. So, number one, there's a huge appetite for this type of content education. Frankly, it kind of surprised me a little bit. I knew that there was a need for education, but the more I spoke to partners, the more it was like, wow, there's like a pretty significant gap out there in terms of education that's available specific to channel partners, right? Specific to the markets that they serve, which, as we all know, pick any market, it's highly specialized, it's very niche, right? Add in some technology, which is always changing and potentially overwhelming, especially for new hires. It basically boils down to there's a good need for this type of content. When we originally started talking about this program, I think we were envisioning like a couple days of training where we would essentially train on the basics of everything that BlueStar has to offer. And I quickly realized in talking to partners that is just way too broad, that people do need that focused education, whether it's by the technology or by the vertical or sales methodology, et cetera. So the scope of this project has exploded since I started working on this in April. The more conversations I have, the more this thing just expands and, gets more and more exciting.
Job security for you, though, at least you know, like you got plenty to work on.
Love it.
You're not going to get bored anytime soon.
No doubt.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Definitely. Well, a lot of the impetus behind this too was, again, we were hearing some of this, like people were kind of telling us that there was this need out there, but we weren't entirely sure, like, is this a thing that they want from us. So there's an expectation of us helping fill this gap. And part of what we did is over the last couple of years or so, when we've had big meetings with, a lot of our higher level folks and a lot of our customers and just gathered them together in groups, I started going in and doing some surveys and kind of just, kind of getting a little bit of an understanding about what their needs and their troubles are, understand what's happening in their business. And the training thing started popping up from time to time organically, not even as a particular question we were asking. So we immediately were kind of thinking like, all right, there's clearly this desire, like you said, this appetite for a little bit better and faster training to get folks up to speed and ready to sell these technologies and understand the industries, understand the reseller channel. So then we kind of pivoted and started asking some specific questions about that and said, hey, what would that look like if we were to go out and start building out, a training program? Is that something you'd be interested in? What would you expect out of it? Started getting some really, really good response and criteria out of that too, that helped us understand what we needed to do. And then it was just a matter of like, well, I don't know if I want to do this, and I don't know if you got time to do this, James. And Dean, I don't know if you have time to do this, so who does? And here comes Mike along and say, hey guys, I can do this, and I got time, and I have the know-how, and obviously the expertise within your family to know how this stuff works too. So we appreciate that you could jumped in and helped out with this and kind of solve those problems. And since then, now as I've done some of those surveys over the past year, as we've been building this out, and I'm telling people like, hey, we took your advice, here's what we're doing. The excitement level has been continuously rising. Again, Mike, you've been getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of folks saying, hey, we want in on this. What is this? Where is it going to be? How do we get involved? How many folks can I send? So I think that's pretty exciting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And I wanted to add something else that I didn't anticipate, but found interesting in terms of what people were looking for, which is, yes, they want product training. They want technology training with their specific industries and verticals. But I think the thing that I want to make clear to people out there listening is, the people you send here are also going to leave with connections at BlueStar.
Yeah.
Our BDMs that represent our various vendor lines, our marketing team, they're going to get a tour of our place. We're going to go out in the evenings and have some fun with them. So as a newbie to this industry, not only are you going to leave feeling, wow, I have a pretty well-rounded foundation of a given technology, but you're also going to leave thinking, I have Mike I can refer to. I can be part of the Academy community online. I've got John and Dean and, again, BDMs from our various lines that are going to be involved in this program. And I think that's powerful. I just want to make sure that's clear, that they're kind of building a network of folks they can rely on.
It's a community we're trying to build here. Like, because for someone who's brand new, especially when you're starting off and you don't know enough people yet, and this is a channel that is built on relationships and built on developing partnerships, and having a little bit of that leg up and having someone you can turn to and ask questions of is hugely important. And hopefully we're going to give them that.
And also, and this is something that's taken me some time to realize about BlueStar, is we're a relatively large organization. And sometimes, you meet a person or two when you're on the road and you're at an event and you think that's your person. Then you realize, oh, they're specific to a certain line.
Right.
Well, who do I talk to if I just want more general information or advice or what have you? So I think that's part of what they'll get out of this as well. Just a better understanding of how to navigate, a company like BlueStar.
Yeah, definitely. Mike, go ahead.
I was just going to add, and that's part of the feedback that we received from partners as I started building out a first test curriculum, which we did in September. It was August, right? Yeah. And we did intro to barcoding and intro to RFID. And then as I was talking to partners, I'm like, well, you know what? We also should have some introduction to networking, not like personal to person-to-person networking, but computer networking, all the good stuff that goes into the ecosystem, the backbone of what drives these solutions. And then talk to people, hey, we really could use some training on sales. And then to your point, James, it's like, hey, if we send new people, it would be really helpful if they got a good crash course on what BlueStar can do for them, right? And so I built out a whole curriculum on, all the value adds that BlueStar offers. And while that might sound like a commercial, it's really more intended to just educate people and bring them up to speed on all these different value adds that we offer. And then also I've got presentations on all the broad technology lines. So the idea is we don't ever want to say no. And the idea is to educate these partners on everything that we can do, all that we can offer. And a big part of that, to your point, James, is the people, understanding the connections. And so when our partners come in for a day and a half of training, there's a lot of interaction with the sales team, business development team. We go for a tour of the warehouse where salespeople get a really good understanding of, what BlueStar can do from a fulfillment standpoint, logistically, et cetera. There's a lot. When someone leaves this training, not only are they getting a lot of education, but we're going out and having fun. We're building relationships and staying in touch after the fact to really build long-lasting relationships.
Yeah, that's great stuff. So you mentioned the selling part of the things, of the courses there, and that you built out an aspect of like teaching people how to sell within this channel, and specifically we're talking a lot about how to sell solutions, not just the gadget, not just a barcode scanner, but a solution to a problem with one of their customers. So let's dig into a little more of that sales cycle side of things and the typical cycle. You've got the discovery portion. Maybe you've got RFPs that come in. Maybe you didn't actually go out and find a particular business there, potential opportunity out there, but something just got handed to you. You got to align solutions with needs. You got to present. You got to close. You got to handle after sale, all that kind of stuff. In your conversations with folks, and maybe from your own experience and your time in this channel, where do you think salespeople are struggling the most when it comes to that sales cycle and figuring out how to manage it and win more deals and find more opportunities, and why? And maybe more importantly, how are we trying to address that with some of this training?
Yeah, boy, that's a good question. I think that what I see trend-wise from how people are selling or difficulty or challenges that they face, I think it depends on the partner. I think it depends on the salesperson themselves, like how much tenure they have, et cetera. And that's why with our training, we're trying to develop courses and education that can apply to whoever comes in. We've been saying salespeople training, but the fact is, your marketing person could come, your, HR person could come to the class to learn a little bit more and understand what you as a solution provider are offering, right? But to answer your question, solution selling is something that, we've got a lot of salespeople out there who are used to just kind of pushing products. And so this whole idea of selling solutions is challenging for some people. It's challenging for tenured salespeople because they might be used to selling an old way. It's challenging for new salespeople because in order to do real solution selling, you really have to understand your customer's business almost better than they do. And if you're a new salesperson, you probably don't, even if you're a tenured salesperson and you're new to retail or new to healthcare or new to manufacturing, what a learning curve, So they don't understand the problems facing their customers to be able to offer solution selling. And that's why we've made that a part of that. I anticipate that being a part of all of our trainings, whether it's an intro to something or a more advanced thing. And then I also think that we'll probably have standalone training that is dedicated 100% just to selling. I know that we've got a great partnership with Intel. They have tons of good educational content themselves that I might potentially leverage to be able to bring to partners, for not just a day and a half of training, but it could be a week's worth of training, could be on demand. There's so many different ways that we can deliver this training.
Mike's over here just creating more work for himself, isn't he?
No doubt. Love it.
That's the problem. Yeah, I got a lot of ideas.
What are your thoughts there, Corey? I know you're like me, you're more on the marketing side of things. What do you hear from salespeople? I know sometimes part of the marketing job is us trying to figure out how to help people sell better by, giving them leads and opportunities and drawing people into the sales cycle. Are you seeing these similar struggles out there too?
Yeah. I think you guys really hit the nail on the head, which is it's easy to be product focused, especially when your company has strong vendor lines that you work with. I think what we're aiming to do here is to help people understand, to Mike's point, what are the problems that are leading? I think often when we lead with a solution, people kind of see through that. They know that we have an agenda, that we're trying to sell them something specific. Right. So I think it's really about helping people understand that, Mike, I think you said it perfectly. You almost have to know their business better than they do. Or at least, and I've heard lots of stories from tenured salespeople to say, I finally got this meeting with someone that I really wanted at the company, and they almost cut the lunch short because it was real clear that I did not understand their day to day. And so us really trying to indoctrinate these people to the extent that we can, to really understand the markets they're selling into, what some of their pain points are. And I think that's where we will get creative in bringing in maybe some guest speakers, maybe some folks who have spent time in retail, in, industrial industries or verticals and things like that. So yeah, complicated. But again, I think my highest level is understanding that they have to be able to speak to the pain and get alignment agreement there before they can then go, okay, now here are your options in terms of how we solve that problem. If you can convince them, if you can get them to trust you, then they'll follow you to what the solution is. If you lead with the solution, they're going to go, they're just trying to sell me this thing. They don't know what the hell's going on around here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and selling the thing also, I mean, you can't differentiate yourself from competition if that's all you're doing.
True.
I mean, I guess there's a place for that. But, that place also tends to be the, just shop online type places too,
Correct.
Which, hey, if that's what you want to be good at and you're great at that and you're great at having the right stock and getting product out quickly and just, churn and burn as many, gadgets as possible, that's fine. But I think if you want to differentiate yourself and put yourself in a position to actually become a trusted partner and some of the people come back to whenever they have problems and look to you for solutions, you have to be operating with that in mind. And yes, to your point, not walking in and just assuming that you know their business and what they need. Like, hey, you need this thing because I'm trying to sell you this thing right now, and I'm going to give you a really awesome presentation about this thing. And to your point, they're sitting there thinking like, yeah, that's not the thing I need because that has nothing to do with what we actually do here.
For sure. And, I'll add that I think a lot of our, larger partners on the reseller side very much get this. And I think newbies would benefit from understanding that there is the services piece of it. That's often where people differentiate. On the mobile devices, it's life cycle management or mobile device management or hot swap replacements, break fix, things like that. So I think introducing them to some of those that, their organizations likely already have in place will also, give them a leg up on how to make that pitch and not make it be about a specific device. Because again, I just think that can be really see-through to the buyer. Whereas when you lead with, hey, we've got options for you on exactly what you're going to choose, but here's how we make life easier in a way that others can't.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When you add services, you're, building recurring revenue, you're creating a better business model oftentimes. I mean, there's just upside to a solution sale where you're probing to understand what the customer needs, plugging in the appropriate services and solutions that you have. It's probably one of the challenges that many partners face as well. Unless they're really big and broad, when you're doing solution selling, you talk to a customer, you might uncover a need that takes you down a path that you're uncomfortable with. All of a sudden, whoa, this customer's talking about digital signage. I don't know anything about this. Well, that's why hopefully some of your sales reps came to BlueStar Academy and they learned all about how we offer digital signage. They learned enough about it to not be afraid of it. And they learned that, hey, they can just call up someone from BlueStar and we can plug someone in and help them win that business. We can help do the installation. So all these things are part of the academy and just raising the intelligence of our partners, their knowledge of us, the knowledge of the industry, everything to just be more productive, sell more, faster, right?
There you go. Exactly. All right, so Mike, let's talk about the process behind building out these courses. What is it that you go through to put a course together? Obviously you went down all the rabbit holes and figured out what you need to do to do this intro to barcoding and RFID course that we kind of did as our test run. What did that look like? How do you strike a balance also between enough info and without going maybe too far overboard? Because I know especially that training, we had a kind of a mix of veterans as well as newbies. And I think for the most part, we'll have a lot of newer folks, but we also don't want this to be something that someone who has been in the channel for a while or maybe been selling for a few years that wouldn't feel comfortable coming in and still could potentially learn something new. So how do you balance all that out to make something that's actually engaging and interesting without boring anyone or being just way too in depth for the newbies?
Yeah, that's a challenge for sure. So I think I err on the side of having too much content. I'd rather have too much available and be able to like gauge the classroom's level of knowledge. So it's like, hey, do we need to go into 10 different barcode symbologies here? Probably not. You guys get the gist. All right, let's skip a few slides, right? So there's that feeling out of like what the classroom needs from me. I think that essentially we're trying to be as all encompassing as possible when it comes to the entry level stuff. The idea here is that people are going to come to us for a day and a half of training. I'm going to fill out the classroom. We're going to go through the course material, but every student that goes through the in-person training will have access to all the course material via our learning management system, the LMS. And so this will all be sitting out there. So if someone either I didn't do a good enough job explaining something, right? So they need that concept again, or they forgot, they could use a refresher, or they go back to the office, they want to show someone else. They're going to have access to all that information in the LMS to be able to, I guess, if they want to go more in depth, they can. Because as we're building this curriculum out, it's quickly going to get overwhelming in terms of the amount of content that we have there that we're curating and putting together. And so we're going to bring people in and we're going to go through our training, but on-demand stuff, people are going to have the ability to really self-pace and get as much training and education as they need. How I'm gathering all this information is using every possible resource at my disposal. While our training is vendor agnostic, we're not promoting any products, we're not promoting any manufacturers, vendors, or anything like that. We've got this situation where, we're trying to educate people on just the foundational things and bring them along. So, I'm tapping into any resources that I can from vendor partners, stripping out anything that's overly PR-ish, utilizing what's good, and kind of bringing an amalgamation of everything that we have to our classroom.
Can I ask a quick question, John?
Yeah.
At the risk of maybe going off script and taking one of your questions.
No, have that.
No, Mike, for the audience's benefit, how are we making sure people are actually consuming and retaining this information? If I'm sending my people there, how do I know they're not falling asleep in class and they're going to leave actually having remembered some of this stuff and, actually bringing back to the team some ROI?
In other words, Mike, are you making sure you're not too boring?
Also, quizzing these people.
Yes. So at the end of each section of the training, so let me give you an example. What does a section look like? So with Intro to Barcoding, there's a section on direct or different types of printers, right? We go through thermal transfer, direct thermal. We do even some inkjet printing. Basically we talk about all the different ways that you can print, different printing options. At the end of each one of those sections, I built out quizzing that the class can take. Now, when I did the beta test of our training, we kind of all walked together in a classroom. I asked the question out loud, had people raise their hands. We did it different ways. In the future, I do think that we're going to encourage our students to come to class either with a laptop or a tablet. And then I do think that there will be some, there'll be some self-paced sections of the training where they can take some quizzing, etc. At the end, there's going to be there are 4 exams that I've created right now. They're paper-based where people are filling them out. It's more for retention, but the idea is to be able to build out a curriculum to be able to deliver certificates of completion to our partners, right? Whether it's they've passed certified or Intro to Barcoding, or they are like a certified RFID expert, whatever we come up with, that's going to be our path. And so people are going to be able to take these classes and we're going to be able to retest them if we choose to on a annual or whatever basis we want to make sure that they are retaining it.
Right, as things change, right, which they tend to do in technology.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's the important part of it. And I appreciate you mentioned the LMS portion of it because, it is one thing to just bring folks in and just have this cool training aspect and talk through things together. But I think that LMS adds another level to the idea of continuous learning because, yes, this is an industry where things are constantly changing and evolving. What you knew about RFID 10 years ago versus what you need to know about it today and the types of technology that are available and how you deploy it and the situations where it needs to be used are completely different. And, I think that LMS will give us that opportunity rather than have to tell people hey, you got to send everyone back in here every year to be able to say, hey, these folks already got the foundation. They already know what they need to know about this. But now there's a new module available about XYZ new level of technology when it comes to RFID and some new products that have hit the market. I encourage you to take this course and learn a little bit more. And I really do think that's going to be super helpful for folks that, again, if I were someone new and I were just learning about this industry and, all the stuff that gets thrown your way when you're a new person as it is, just understand like the company you're working for, what your day-to-day role is like, learning the systems and the technology, all that little stuff that is hard and intangible to figure out before you're even expected to actually understand how to do your job.
Yeah.
And go out and find customers and win business and sell stuff and, grow your numbers and grow the business. All that little stuff there. It's a lot to keep in someone's head. And it's nice to be able to know that there's an opportunity to help them, as we start this process, obviously, and, right out of the gate, but then also still down the road, be able to tell them like, hey, as things change and as they develop, anyone in your business can be sent to that, because that's where I think like the veteran stuff can come in too. Like, for sure, I don't care if you've been selling for 50 years, if there's a brand new type of technology or a whole new way of selling stuff and a new, type of vertical or whatever that we've never really gone after before. Now we've got a place where you can go and do that without having to necessarily send them off to come train with us. Not that we don't want you to come in, but if we have the opportunity to do it online and make it quick and easy, that's even better.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if I could just add to what you're saying there, John, a couple things. Number one, to tie back to what James was saying, the LMS is the community aspect of this, or it's a huge part of it. I mean, obviously we want people to come and meet us in person, but that LMS is what's going to create a stickier relationship between us and partners and building a good relationship. I like the class that came through in August, and I want to stay in touch with them, and especially, newer sales reps, see how they grow, et cetera. So the LMS has a huge social component to it where we'll be able to communicate with students. Students who come in, they'll have their own section by class. So like the class of January 2026, they can stay in touch with one another. We'll have channels set up by vertical, by technology, and I hope to have, really good resources plugged in there. So if 4 months later, after someone does some training, they have a question on the right, RFID tag to be used in this one really niche environment, they could ask the question potentially on the LMS and have an expert answer it for them. So that's really exciting. And then the other thing is playbooks, designing playbooks for our students. So you go through the training to a certain level. Within the LMS, you'll gain access to a playbook, which I'm going to be building. And these playbooks have everything from common pain points, who use different key buying personas within each vertical. So there'll be playbooks based on verticals, essentially. Just tons of resources to be given to our partners to help enable them.
Mike, I want to add something quick related to the social aspect of the LMS, but even just the person-to-person email, whatever that looks like. I guess it's almost a request of our partner community, which is we want this to be a feedback loop. John, you painted the picture that as things change, which they inevitably will, we're going to have some thoughts on new courses, new topics, but God, we'd love to build something you all want too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This whole thing has been built on surveying, talking to folks at events, Mike reaching out one-to-one. We want to continue that. I think it's like any product that gets built in the world. We want it to be led by a true real-world need. So that is our ask. And I think if you guys don't mind giving people some advice, even as we are building the initial handful of courses, how do people, if they're out there listening, say, ooh, it would be great if we could have something that goes deep on payments. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, I've been in this industry for damn near 2 decades, and payments still makes my head spin in terms of who all these different parties are. I don't know if we built that yet. We probably just should, but anything else out there that you're thinking, this would be kind of niche, but there's an audience out there for it, please let us know, because we want to build something that's useful to you all.
Absolutely.
Yep.
To that end, in a moment, we're going to let Mike tell us a little bit more about how you can help us build out for next year, as well as what to expect from an actual day and a half of training at BlueStar Academy if you're coming and bringing your folks here in-house. But before we do that, quick note of what's happening around BlueStar Nation. Hey, we've just been talking about the idea of partnerships and selling solutions. Well, typically a good solution is going to need software, right? That's an important part of things these days. The gadget's fine, but if you don't have the software, what's that gadget even for? So if you're looking for new ISV partners to complete your solutions, we are always here to help with our Tech Connect program, which is all about how we are bringing software partners into our ecosphere, helping them learn how to navigate the channel. But more importantly, we've also are always every year at VARTech, our big show that we do every year, we spend a little bit of time with some ISVs, letting them talk about who they are and what they're looking for in partners. We call it Tech Connect Live. We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, I think, something like that. Right. And it's always an interesting, fun event where we let some folks come out, give short little 90-second pitches about who they are, what they do, what they're looking for in a partner, how they're going to help you win business, get recurring revenue. It's fascinating, cool stuff. We record these every year as well. And I just wanted to say that because the one from this recent VARTech is live on our YouTube page right now. You can go there. You can check this out. We had 17 new to VARTech ISVs that pitched and told us about their solutions and their products. We brought them out on stage. They talked about the partnership aspect. They talk about their value to our VARs.
How you can make money with it.
How you can make money. Plus, we spent a little bit of time talking about some of those BlueStar value adds. Mike actually did come out there on stage and talk about BlueStar Academy. It's where we kind of soft launched this whole thing to our attendees. So if you need a little more in depth even than that, than what we've been talking about today, you can find it in that video. But you're also going to learn about our connectivity program. We had Jim Hilton and iOnline CEO Dave Farquharson talking about that. And this guy right here, James Cordy, gave us a lesson in upping your LinkedIn game, which I think a lot of folks really appreciated at the end of that conversation as well. So good stuff. Go to the BlueStar YouTube page. There's a link in the show notes to this particular video. Check it out. If you're looking for some new partners, want to learn a little bit more about how we can help you win some business, check out Tech Connect Live. While you're doing that, take a quick moment, as always, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit like on this episode. Leave us a comment. Tell us all the things you want Mike to teach your folks about. Maybe tell them if we need to plan like 10-year graduations or something, or 10-year reunions, I guess.
Love it.
After the graduation. You might get a little busy with that, Mike, but yeah, we'll see what we can do out there. Check out our BlueStar Nation blog. We're always doing amazing, great content out there, including end user surveys. Send your ideas into us also. This show only works if you let us know what you want to hear about. Just like we talked about the Academy here, we need to know what you want, or what we're doing doesn't really count for anything or matter for anything. Now Dean and I, and Cordy and I too, can just sit here and talk forever about any topic we feel like. That's easy. Like you turn a camera on and put some mics in front of us, we will find something to talk about.
Sure.
But we prefer it to be things that you actually want to hear us talking about too. So send your ideas into us. As always, you can leave comments. You can find us on our LinkedIn page or email us directly, nation@bluestarinc.com. All right, let's wrap things up here, Mike, and dive a little deeper into this value that we are giving to our VARs, I think, with this particular offering. So explain kind of a brief overview of what does one of these training sessions look like. I guess maybe kind of give an overview of what our test run looked like, because it may not be the final product every time, but it was a pretty good idea of what I think we can expect out of these. And then even more importantly, how are we relying on the folks that are listening right now and our partners to help us guide this program as we move through and launch it full scale in 2026?
All right. So the beta test that we ran, I think, is a good indicator for how we're going to be running our in-person training sessions in 2026. We kind of took a stab at it based on past events and educational events that BlueStar has done. It feels right. A day and a half feels right. It's at BlueStar headquarters in Hebron, Kentucky, which is just down the road from the Cincinnati airport. Super easy to get to headquarters. We're charging partners nothing for this. All right. Essentially, just need to get people to our headquarters. And as I mentioned, it's really easy to get there. From flying standpoint, we take care of breakfast both days. We take care of lunch. On the first day, we take people out to dinner at night and have some fun. We went to virtual golf, and we were playing virtual frisbee and all kinds of stuff. So we went out that first night and had some fun with the business development team, sales team, and some of the partners. The training, we did intro to barcoding, intro to RFID. We did a warehouse tour. And then we also did solution selling, connectivity, which I'm calling networking connectivity, and then an intro to BlueStar. It was a lot of content that we packed in there, but it felt right. I mean, because in this case, it was an intro level thing. We had some products, and we're going to have even more products that we're bringing into the classroom to have some hands-on demo type stuff. I mentioned the warehouse tour. A lot of people have done the warehouse tour. It's awesome, right? I mean, BlueStar has a killer warehouse, but this warehouse tour is a little bit different in that we're trying to connect some dots, right? It's not just, hey, look at how cool we are. It's, hey, remember how we were talking about like presentation barcode scanners? Here's one right here. See how this is, working into this whole, shipping and logistics setup. Like they can actually see the technology in person, which is really cool. And we had breaks and had a good time. I mean, it was a really, in my opinion, a casual day and a half of education. For the first one, it was just me in the classroom primarily. Going forward, I do think we're going to be bringing in different experts and stuff. You mentioned Jim Hilton. He's got this connectivity initiative. In fact, I'm working with Jim to create a whole training section just on that initiative that he has going on, so we can deliver that out of VARTech. People were very, very interested in that announcement as well, and so he and I are going to work together to deliver some of that content to people so they can better understand it and adopt it.
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to reiterate there, you kind of soft pedaled it a little bit, but I do want to reiterate that we are offering the training portion of this for free. There is nothing you have to pay us to do this training for your folks here in house. All you got to do is pay for the cost of getting them here and putting them up in a hotel. And we've even got a hotel we can recommend to you that'll give you a nice rate too while you're here. So once you've got them here and got them a place to stay, everything else is taken care of. We even had someone doing some local transportation to help out too. Like if they're staying at that particular hotel, we even got someone that'll take a little shuttle out there and pick them up each day and bring them back, take them to the evening events. We want to make this as easy as possible for you. This is meant to be something that's helpful to our customers, and we wanted to make it as easy and light of a lift as possible to do that. So I appreciate that you threw that out there, but I really want people to understand, because I think sometimes you hear about something like this, and as grandiose as our plans are, and as cool as this sounds, you might think like, well, what's this going to cost me to tap in on this, buddy? And essentially,
it truly is free. And like you said, the hotels, it's like $145 a night or something like that. It's ridiculous, very affordable for what we believe. We haven't said this yet, but I was on this call, but I was tasked when we started this to create the best training in the channel. And that's what we hope to deliver. And so we want to deliver the best training in the channel to our partners as a value add for free. And we think that the benefit, it's going to pay everyone by, just getting smarter, rising tide, all that. I do want to mention too, John, when we announced this, it was like, oh, well, yeah, this is for our VAR partners. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, we've got ISV partners. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to ISV partners, and yeah, they need some education too. They might even need it tweaked a little bit, right? Because they might need training on how to sell direct versus how to build a reseller channel. What do you put into a reseller channel program? So there's going to be a whole curriculum I could see dedicated to the ISVs. Similarly, I couldn't believe how many people at VARTech from the manufacturer standpoint were coming up to me saying like, hey, like it would be nice if we could send some of our new hires to your training. So we even have, manufacturers in this space who want the training. And then lastly, and I'll shut up, is, obviously BlueStar global organization. And we have, business units all over the world who are also just as eager for this type of education and content. So if you're sitting there in Canada or overseas and you're wondering, this is great, but it doesn't work for me, we're trying to make it work for you. Like you are not forgotten. You're a big part of this, and we want to make sure that we're rolling it out. I'm not making any guarantees, but I do think I'll be leaving the United States at some point in 2026 to do some of this training. So,
and not because we just ran him out with too much work either. So,
yeah, just getting out of here.
Because he actually needs to go somewhere and train somebody. But that's a great point. Yes. Honestly, at the end of the day, I would hope, we've put a lot on Mike's shoulders here, obviously. But I would feel good about what we're doing if Mike gets so busy that at some point he has to come to us and say, hey, you know what? We could probably use another one of me to actually make this actually happen.
For sure.
At that kind of scale. We'd love for that to be, that would be a great problem for us to have because it would tell us that we're doing the right thing and that we're doing something that everyone wants us to tap into.
I had one other thing, and I know this, we're getting short on time here in terms of it being 2026, but if you want us to come on the road to you, one of the packages we're putting together, we had some requests for, was sales kickoff training. Mm-hmm. So 2 things here. First of all, we can do that. We can come to you. We can make it affordable. Obviously, again, the whole plan here, the reason we want to build this as a true value add is there's mutual benefit. Yeah. If we can get your people trained up and making money for you quicker, we're going to be selling more product as well. All parties are looking for the same thing there. But also, and Mike touched on this when we talked about some of the sales enablement training or sales training, if you could use a primer, your team needs to know how to use Copilot or GPT or something like that, we will build, so to speak, so what I'm looking for, bespoke courses. Yeah. So again, outside of the technologies, let us know what your team needs from a business standpoint. If you need it, chances are really strong that others need it. We'd be happy to build it. And again, Mike will go on the road. If you've got a sales kickoff or, just a team event at the end of H1, for instance, that's something we're open to talking to you about. And again, making it affordable and easy for you too.
Exactly. To that end, also, we are going to be launching the schedule for this very soon. We're hoping by early mid-December, so we'll actually be able to lay out the schedule for 2026 of events so you can pre-plan ahead of time, start potentially booking some of the ones in the first quarter or two of the year. But we need your help for that also. So we've got a survey that's already been put together where we're kind of asking our potential partners, and folks that might want to send folks to this to find out, hey, what are you looking to learn? What kind of technologies are most important for you, your people to learn about? Do you need introductory or advanced training? Are you interested in the selling skills? Are you interested in marketing skills? Whatever it is, we need to hear from you because, we have some ideas of what we think we can do with this. And there's a lot of topics we know we want to cover. But if we can build out something and start building that schedule around particularly what you really need right out of the gate, we want to do that. So go down to the show notes. There's going to be a link there. You're welcome to reach out to Mike directly. As always, email us here at Blue Star Nation or find your favorite Blue Star rep and ask them questions about this. And we will be happy to help try to put together a training schedule that will meet your needs. And if it's not something part of the broader scheme, as James mentioned, we're happy to talk about some very specific one-offs if we need to make that happen too. So again, this only works if you give us the feedback that we need in order to make this work. But we want to make it work for you because you're the ones that said you needed it. Therefore, we are going to build something that is exactly what you hopefully need for you and for your employees.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, just as I'll bookend this with what I said at the beginning. I'm super excited to be a part of this initiative. It's awesome to be delivering something to partners or to the IT reseller channel that I've been a part of for so long. It's exciting to be delivering something that everyone is so excited for. Right. And it's not like we're sitting there saying like, hey, we've got this great thing and it's going to cost you $20,000. It's free. I mean, I hope to be very, very popular in 2026.
We'll get some good miles on your account there, Mike. Sending you all over the place.
Let's do this.
All right, let's wrap things up as always with what's on our radar. This is the fun part of the show where we get to talk about any piece of tech, innovation, science, news, entertainment, whatever it is we feel like chatting about today. Mike, what's on your radar right now?
What's on my radar? Network attached storage. I've been doing this little home, project, my little lab here, my little computer lab. I've recently gotten into doing some network attached storage and trying to get a grip on all the videos, photos, all the digital media that I have across all these different drives and just floating around trying to get it all in one spot. So
is this like a cloud-based thing or is it like an actual physical storage that you're trying to pile it into?
Well, you're going to regret asking a follow-up question, John. So I
3 hours later.
This is a Ubiquity house, so I love Ubiquity products for it's good for like a nerd at home, and so I've got a number of different Ubiquity solutions, and I just added a NAS appliance from them, and I've got I think I'm running RAID 10 if you really want to know, across 4 different drives. I've got 24 terabytes of storage, and it does have some built-in file sharing capabilities to be able to compete with the cloud. So if I wanted to share a file with you, I could just share the link and, it would work just like you would expect. But anyway.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's get that all hammered out. Let me know exactly what you've done.
No doubt.
A little course.
I probably shouldn't say this as a guy who obviously works in markets and tech, but there's a lot of that went right over my head. And which is why we need folks like Mike to help us out, so.
No problem.
You put that out there. Now there's going to be folks asking for training on that. I'm going to need you to do a network storage setup for me, please. Yeah. All right.
A lot.
Cordy, what about you? What's on your radar right now?
Every time I'm going to be on this show, I get anxious about this question. So I'm like, oh God, do I have anything?
Because you usually don't think about it until we literally are sitting down either. That doesn't help.
Correct. It does not. And then I always think to myself, maybe I should just say that I want to close my laptop and set my phone down. And that's what's tech connecting with me. And then
tech connecting.
That's correct.
Try saying that 10 times fast.
No doubt. But honestly, there's an app called Mirage. It is inexpensive-ish, $25 a month or something like that. And it is an AI tool, surprise, surprise. What is so cool about it is it can take an image of a person. It could be a real person. It could be an AI-generated static image. And then it could take generated audio. That audio could be a song. It could be a voiceover. It could be real recorded audio. And you can upload both of those things. So you upload the image, you upload the audio, and it brings that image to life and makes it sing, rap, speak, whatever audio you've uploaded. And it is very good. Yeah. And it's really freaking cool. AI is getting scary good, and I just can't imagine where it's going to be 12 months from now.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully in a good place, but
fair point.
Hopefully it's just fun people like us. Fun people like us doing fun stuff with it, and not the scary people doing scary stuff with it.
Correct. Agreed.
All right, well, I'll wrap up what's on my radar. So the baseball season recently ended, and if you're a fan of super teams that spend more money than anyone else winning it all, then congratulations. The Dodgers won for the second year in a row. I was rooting for the Blue Jays. Sorry, I don't get me wrong. I like a lot of the players on that team, on the Dodgers team, but I like seeing the quote little guy win, although the Blue Jays weren't exactly the little guys this year either. But okay, the season's over. My Reds made it to the postseason, did not make it far, obviously, and we've got another long season to wait to see if we can get there again. But in the meantime, I have been spending a lot of time playing MLB's The Show, the 2025 edition. This is a game back in the day. I used to play MVP Baseball on the old PlayStation and PlayStation 2. That was my favorite go-to baseball games back in the day. Went a long time where I just didn't play a lot of video games. I've talked about this on the show before, that I've gotten my backdoor way back into video games by introducing it to my son. It made it easy for me to justify getting back into it myself. Got a PlayStation 5 for Christmas last year, and the first thing I thought to myself is, I've got to get The Show this year. That is, I've got to get a good baseball game to play. And when I first started playing it, I wasn't really playing it a lot. I wasn't as into it as I thought I would be, but I found a mode in it that I started playing, again, just as this season was ending, called March to October, which essentially lets you take your team and kind of play it from all angles of as playing the game, as well as a little bit of the management side and the scouting side and the player acquisition side or whatever throughout a season, but only kind of in chunks. You're not playing every game start to finish. That gets, baseball is a 162 game season, so that takes a long time. So instead, what it does is it will drop you into a game, let's say in the bottom of the 8th inning, and you're down by 2 and you've got 2 runners on and your slugger's up to bat. So you'll play out the rest of that game to see if you can potentially win there. And if you win, you get kind of a boost of morale for your team that then will hopefully help you win. It'll skip the next 5 games, but maybe you win 3 of those 5 because your team got a morale boost for winning that particular game. Or if you lost, you go on a bit of a cold snap and maybe you lose 4 out of those 5. And now your next game, you got to dig yourself out of that trench again or something. Every now and then you'll have a minor league player that you get to do a little development and then call them up to the bigs, add them to your team. You can do trades and stuff in the offseason. It sounds very complicated, but this particular version makes it easy to kind of play through a season in maybe just a couple weeks or so and do a lot of that fun stuff without kind of the monotony of game after game after game. So I am now I've just reached the 2028 season with the Reds. Unfortunately, I have yet to win a World Series. I missed the first season playoffs. The second season, I made it, but got swept right out of the wild card series. And I just had a season where I made it to the league championship series and lost to the Phillies, unfortunately. So I'm gunning for a championship in my next season, but I'm excited about this. This is a fun game. It's a lot of fun to play. If you're a baseball fan, highly recommend checking it out. And if you want something that's more manageable, but gives you kind of the fun of baseball, as well as going out there and signing like superstars that you would never, ever see on your team, try the March to October feature. So there you go.
That's cool.
That's what's on our radar right now. Mike Monocello, thank you so much for joining us again. As always, thank you so much for putting BlueStar Academy on your shoulders. Your enthusiasm for this is honestly what I think is going to make this program so amazing. So we appreciate that. Yes, so it is time for us to sign off. Until next time, again, tell us what you want to hear about on the show and as well in BlueStar Academy. And Professor Monocello probably has some office hours later today if you need some extra curricular time too. We'll see you out there, folks, in the nation.
Thanks, Mike.